The following are the top 11 lottery winners who hit it big and lost it all.
I just hit the lotto. Jackpot, got the right 7 digits. I just hit the lotto.
Number 1. David Lee Edwards. In 2001, David Lee Edwards was an unemployed convicted felon from Ashland, Kentucky when he won $27 million in the Powerball jackpot. He spent $12 million within the first year after the win buying luxury cars, a $1.6 million house in Palm Beach. Him and his wife later on contracted hepatitis from habitual drug use. Within 5 short years, he was broke and living in a squalid storage unit contaminated with human feces. Edwards died broke and alone in hospice care just 12 years after raking in $27 million. He was 58 years old. Number 2. Jonathan J. Vargas. In 2008, Jonathan J. Vargas took home a cool $35.3 million Powerball jackpot. When your life goes from rags to riches overnight, it can sometimes be impossible to make good decisions, and 19-year-old Jonathan Vargas proves it. Vargas used his newfound wealth to start a pro wrestling business featuring all-female wrestlers clad in bikinis. WrestleLicious lasted just 1 year on TV but is no longer in business, and according to reports, Jonathan Vargas is now broke. Number 3. Ibi Raincolli. In 1991, Ibi Raincolli from Ontario, Canada won $5 million in the Lotto 649. She did not tell her husband the ways she intended to spend it. When Mrs. Raincolli gave $2 million of her winnings to a secret love child she had previously had with another man, he poisoned her with painkillers. Her husband, Joseph Raincolli, a doctor, was later found guilty of manslaughter. Number 4. Graham Galineau. Before winning the lottery in 2007, Graham Galineau worked a low-paying job as a clerk at an off-track betting parlor. The 59-year-old won $37 million from a Canadian lottery known as the Lotto 649. The often private and eccentric man disappeared after collecting his jackpot. He did not return to the cheap room that he rented inside a Toronto boarding house. He died a recluse, estranged from both family and friends, and either too sick or frugal to spend his millions. Number 5. Callie Rogers. In 2003, Callie Rogers was only 16 years old and living in the UK with her foster parents and working as a retail clerk, earning around $5.83 US per hour when she bought a lottery ticket in the UK National Lottery. That ticket ended up winning her 1.9 million pounds, around $3 million US dollars. Despite first saying she would continue to live frugally, she bought a few brand new cars, 4 large homes, and also had 2 breast augmentations. The main habit that led to her final downfall was cocaine. She estimates having spent £250,000 on the drug. This is an estimated $750,000 US dollars. In the end, Rogers was left with very little to show for her sudden riches. She was left with around £40,000, which is equal to $64,000 US dollars. In the end, she picked up work as a maid. Number 6. Gerald Muswagen. In 1998, Gerald Muswagen won a cool $10 million in the Super 7 Canadian lottery. He spent all his winnings on lavish parties, drinking, buying multiple luxury vehicles, and a large house. He spent all his winnings in just 7 years. In the end, he hung himself in his parents' basement. Number 7. Willie Hurt. In 1989, Willie Hurt was just a simple family man living in Lansing, Michigan, when he hit the $3.1 million jackpot. In 2 years, he was charged with murder after a 48-hour drug and alcohol binge while at a rooming house when Hurt allegedly argued with his girlfriend about failing to get more crack cocaine. She was later found dead from a shot to the head. No word as to whether or not he was convicted. Number 8. Sharon Tirabassi. In 2004, Sharon Tirabassi was a single mother on welfare when she hit the jackpot and won $10,569,000.10 Canadian. She immediately went on a spending spree, buying fancy cars, a big house, designer clothes, exotic trips, throwing lavish parties, and handing out portions of her winnings as loans to family and friends. After spending all her winnings, she was back on public transportation, living in a rented house and working part-time. She did put some of her winnings in trust funds for her 6 children, who will be able to claim the money once they each turn 26. Number 9. William Bud Post. From a very young age, William Post's life was not easy. His father sent him to an orphanage when his mother died at the age of 8. He later on worked in a carnival, along with a series of other odd jobs, barely making minimum wage. That all changed in 1998, and with less than $3 in his bank account, Post pawned a ring for $40 and bought lottery tickets with the proceeds. His luck took a turn when he walked away with $16.2 million. Little did he know that his problems were only beginning. His brother hired a hitman to take his life. This is after Post purchased cars and businesses for him and his siblings. He also got married 7 times during his windfall. Post was later jailed for firing a gun over the head of a bill collector. He served a prison sentence and after that lived on food stamps and disability payments before dying at the age of 66. Number 10. Amanda Clayton. It was the fall of 2011 when Amanda Clayton, a single mother who was jobless and on welfare, won $1 million in the Michigan lottery. Despite her winnings, she continued to collect $200 a month in state food assistance and was later charged with welfare fraud for failing to report any changes to her income. She was placed on probation and ordered to pay back the money she took while still on the lottery. She died at the age of 25 from a drug overdose. Number 11. Alex Toth. Alex Toth's life changed when he bought a winning $13 million lottery ticket. At the time of hitting the life-changing jackpot, Toth's family, which consisted of a wife and 6 children from past relationships, had less than $425 to live on for the week. They had already spent their money on beans, rice, and canned soup. Shortly after the win, Toth and his wife started living like celebrities. They spent 3 months living in a $1,000 a night luxury hotel room in Las Vegas. It wasn't long before the money troubles showed up. The Toths filed for bankruptcy 2 times and were also convicted of filing 3 years of fraudulent tax returns. The Toths moved in with their son and daughter-in-law. Toth later died after spending all his fortune and going back to a much simpler life in a mobile home.